What do you mean by imposing police state?
Right from the beginning, the city of Pittsburgh, when it announced that the G20 was coming, has engaged in a demonization of dissent by two things. One, through the media, creating this narrative that people were going to be coming into town to create urban chaos, and the other tactic has been to stall on issuing permits. And we had to go to federal court last week just to get the bare minimum of permits needed to pull this off. So the whole thing has been a conscious strategy on the part of the government, because the last thing that Obama needs right now is for there to be protests from his left, from his base. He's dealing with a right that's vocal and on the ascendancy, and the last thing he needs is his own base abandoning him. And so they made, as far as we're concerned, the conscious decision to trample on our constitutional rights to save Obama's butt. The way it's affected us has been, as I said, creating a narrative in which you scare the people of Pittsburgh, the people of Western Pennsylvania, by threatening urban chaos, and that their lives will be endangered, that their businesses will be endangered. So what you have now is a ghost town in downtown Pittsburgh with businesses boarded up. The whole point of this was to sell the city of Pittsburgh to the world community, and what we have is essentially a kind of post-Katrina in downtown Pittsburgh with window shops boarded up. The only people on the street are the police. It's basically backfired on the city in terms of what they were hoping to get out of this.
Yeah. We're going to try to, march a little bit, attend rallies, call for more rallies, and call for more people to become aware and to be a part of this. It's a kind of a historical movement and a historical event, although I think right now I don't think a lot of people are aware, and it really doesn't have a shape that it may take on in the future. So let's work for that and work towards that.
Hey, what's up? Power to the people.
Well, it's become a department of entertainment, the entertainment division of organizations, and they basically get a lot of folks from central casting in and put together what they call news, and there's very little investigative journalism, or what passes for investigative journalism. It's usually chasing down local stories and then just putting a CNN or MSNBC or Fox stamp on it, and then from there they just beat it into the ground 24/7. I don't see a lot of hope in corporate media at this point. I think independent media, people like Indian media, people like Democracy Now! And free speech television are really the cutting edge of where media is going, which is grassroots from the bottom up.
Corporate media, sorry.
How ironic.
Corporate gradualism. Their metabolism comes from their military advisors, big energy.
APM Press.
They will do things very slowly.
APM Press.
They will try to accommodate their investors.
Hey, Democratic.
As far as I'm concerned, they are accommodating the devil. Let's cast out those devils.
Are cops blocking our exit?
Yeah.
I went through 4 years of college and I still didn't know what globalization was, right? And this poster explains it visually all at once, and it's really fun. It's like a puzzle. Every tiny image stands for something really important that we had a big discussion about. All of it was completely planned and based on research that we did in Columbia. So we went to Columbia for 2 months and asked people, how does globalization affect your life? And they told us, and we made a poster about it.
What would you call a success of this G20 meeting from your perspective? From what you are trying to change and do?
Well, I think at this point, getting a lot more awareness of
nationwide and worldwide about what's going on. These G20 meetings are like conspiracy theorists' worst nightmare come true. There's like 20 people sitting in one room deciding the fate of the world. That's crazy, and we all need to wake up and realize that that's going on and start fighting in all the different ways that we have to regain local and regional power and self-determination and to fight, this modern-day corporate colonialism that's going on.
The last question I only have, there is a lot of security around the city. Do you think it is justifiable? There's such a big threat? Because the way you're talking is peacefully demonstrating against what's going on in the world, so why do you think there's so much security going on, as if you guys were such a big threat?
Right. Well, of course it's peaceful. We're not here to wreck Pittsburgh. We're here to say that the G20 is not welcome in Pittsburgh or anywhere else. And the police work for the G20, and if you follow down the chain of command, and so I think they're here to try to scare us and to try to intimidate us out of speaking up.
It was very uplifting to see all those people come out, and an unpermitted march, a march that really was never supposed to happen. But we all showed up and showed, hey, we don't need a permit. We're peaceful protesters who want to voice our opinions, and the only way for us to get heard is to maybe rustle a few feathers. So
as we marched out of the park, it became apparent just how powerful our movement had grown. And as we were marching through Lawrenceville, which is a traditionally lower class, working class neighborhood in Pittsburgh, people were hanging out of their windows, shaking their fists in support of our movement, and it was probably one of the most beautiful things I've seen as an activist. And I've even seen a couple of people run out of their houses and throw their shirts over their faces and join us in the streets, which was just something unprecedented.
hey, I'm digging your shield.
Oh, thank you. Oh yeah.
Our streets! Who streets? Our streets! Who streets? Our streets!
If you guys could, please explain to me why you're wearing masks.
The mask, well, not only is it to conceal identity, which has been, it's necessary oftentimes in a resistance to conceal one's identity, to, stay away from forms of police repression, jail, harassment, etc. Actually, one of the main reasons I would wear a mask and do wear a mask is because it's a symbol of solidarity, around the world. The Zapatistas have worn masks at their demonstrations, as well as anarchists around the world, and resistors for that matter, throughout the world and throughout the ages. And so the masks are more of a symbolic symbol of resistance, I suppose, is the way to put it.
But also, especially at the summit, when they're taking our photos and trying to build FBI profiles on us, it's nice to have masks on as much as possible. And I mean, we even had to have masks just walking down the street because there's just cops everywhere and trying to take our photos and trying to build files on us. So it's a scary thing, for me, I'm a vegan, and so I'm an animal rights activist, which is considered a terrorist in the United States, domestic terrorist. It's pretty much the #1 or #2 domestic terrorist threat, as well as environmental activists. So, when I have people when I was living in California, going to jail for 7 years for drawing in on the sidewalks in chalk saying torture chamber head at University of Santa Cruz,